Guys, welcome back to the Try Time Podcast. I'm Matt, and today joined for another one of our Super League previews. If you haven't seen the first 3 of these that have been released, go and check those out. This is obviously number 4 with another 8 to come, one for each team. In case this is the first one you've caught, the format of this, we're going to discuss for each club their incomings, their outgoings, any general other updates that we think might be of relevance that could influence their season. So, without further ado, I have the unenviable task of talking about my own team, Leeds Rhinos, and trying to keep this under 5 minutes or so. It won't happen, and let's not waste any more time and jump in. So, I'm actually going to start with the departure at Leeds, because I think this is probably the most interesting part. In terms of mid-season, post-season releases, Zane Tetevano and Blake Austin, pretty high profile. Austin a regular starter for the club prior to his loan move to Castleford, and Tetevano, unfortunately, on medical grounds. In terms of the actual transfers out then, Aidan Caesar going back to the NRL. Question as to why West want him, but we'll ignore that one. Liam Tyndall to Hull FC, that might be a bigger loss. Nene McDonald and Kai Morgan to Salford, and surprisingly Richie Myler heading down to the Championship with the York Knights. I think out of those, Tyndall is actually the biggest miss, and I will touch on why when we discuss the squad as a whole. Myler definitely will also be a loss, as that is some valuable cover across the halves and the fullback position that really we have lost now. Looking into who's replacing those guys then, so in the forward line we've got Mikael Gudimon from Catalans, Lockie Miller from Newcastle, Matt Frawley from Canberra, Paul Moravsky from Sydney, Brodie Croft and Andy Ackers from Salford, and highly rated youngster Kieran Hudson coming from Castleford. So as you can see, that's quite an NRL heavy set of acquisitions for Leeds this year. And I think that sums up the ambition following last season quite well. A lot of talented players in that squad, but not enough quality in key areas. For Leeds last year, the big problem was the halfbacks. Neither Blake Austin nor Aidan Seized Up were really appropriate for the top level of Super League this year. Bringing in former Man of Steel Brodie Croft and Canberra's NRL quality Matt Frawley is a fantastic piece of business. Let's be honest though, there's reservations about Frawley. He failed at Huddersfield. Nobody really remembers his time there in 2019. He only really was a fringe player at times during his time at Canberra. You know, his highest appearing season was just 8 appearances. But let's not detract from what Leeds needed. They needed an organiser, somebody who could marshal round while Brodie Croft did the flashy stuff best. And that's kind of what they've got, an underrated astute halfback here to slot in at scrum half. Combine that with David Fusitua, one of the best wingers in the air in the competition, Ash Hanley, who's certainly proficient at that, and that's suddenly starting to look a lot more dangerous, bringing in Newman and Momirovski on their inside shoulders. Again, 2 quality centres there. In terms of the youngsters then, I think there's real talent here. We've seen against Castleford at the end of last season, and also actually against Wakefield on Boxing Day, the likes of Tom Nicholson-Watton looking ever closer to being Super League standard. We all know what James McDonald can do. James Bentley's only 25 and sober heading into this season. Jared O'Connor, 22. Max Simpson, 19. Morgan Gannon's still only 20 years old. This is a really young core in the Leeds squad. Which I guess this leads us to what actually are potentially the problems here. And to be honest, I think this is few and far between. Take out the club bias, and Leeds probably have one of the best, most balanced squads heading into this season on paper. Captain Cameron Smith is extremely experienced at 25 with the leadership to boss the team round. They've got an experienced and astute set of halves in Brodie Croft and Matt Frawley, who have played NRL between them, Croft at the Super League at the highest level. They've got a great back 5. But I think the issue with where we look at Leeds versus the likes of Wigan and Saints is their depth. I look at those bench players. Whilst you've got some great names in there, James McDonald, Mikael Gudimon, Sam Lazone even on the bench for Leeds, despite, over 100 NRL appearances across New Zealand and Gold Coast. You look at the others. You've got Sangare, who is still incredibly raw. Makes a lot of metres, but ultimately makes a lot of errors. And I think the biggest one for a lot of people, cover at halfback, with young Jack Simfield next in line, who whilst he has proven his worth on occasion, has not done this week in, week out so far, and has immense pressure, but also that winger. And this is the key problem I think a lot of Leeds fans will point to. It's their backup on the wings. Normally this wouldn't be too concerning, but with Fuzzy 2's previous injury record, the thoughts of either Daryl Alfers, who had a very troublesome start to life at Headingley last season, or Louis Roberts, the former Lee Young Player of the Year, who again didn't really light things up with just one solitary try across his 10 appearances for the Rhinos last season. They're probably not the names that fans are getting excited about, particularly when you look at his record. He's scored 13 tries across 49 competitive games for all clubs. That's not a great record. And whilst you can't say the same about Daryl Alfers with 1,974, including 30 plus for Castleford that season. No, across his 3 seasons even. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. He's no Greg Eden. But, there's an ability to score from close range there. The problem is the off-the-ball work from Daryl has not historically been his strong point. If Leeds can keep their key players fit, there's no telling how far this season could go. This is a squad that should be pushing for easily the playoffs, certainly the semis. And to be quite honest, I would say with the right injury luck and the right form, this is a grand final worthy squad. So what else could hold the Rhinos back this season? Well, for me, this is going to be defined by one thing and one thing only, and it was talked about last season. Is Rowan Smith the man for the job? He joined midway through 2022 and took a, frankly, underdog team to the grand final. Things looked perfect. He got a squad that was, in theory, a vast improvement in 2023. And what happened? They regressed. Big style. So with even more quality in the team now, is this the year that Rowan and Leeds stand up and be taken notice of? Or is this just going to be another disappointment in the road? Whilst I am not so much looking forward to this if it's the latter, I think I speak for the entirety of Super League when we can't wait to see what Leeds bring this season. Because if it all clicks, it's going to be magical. And if it doesn't, there's a real risk of an implosion in the coaching staff. Which one's most likely? Well, only time will tell. And I guess that's it for the summary of the Leeds team this year. Join us in a few weeks when we take a look at our full Super League preview in one of our big Wednesday podcasts. If you're not subscribed, hit the notification bell. Stick around for those. Got some great content coming up. And of course, the rest of the previews will be out on Monday and Friday on our new triple upload schedule until the season starts. Until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.